What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews, and welcome to episode 3 of the Recap with E-Man. We are still under quarantine, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. And unfortunately, that means that even more movies have been delayed in that process. So let's just go through some of the bad news of all these movies that are getting postponed, and then we'll get to some hopefully much better news later on. So first and foremost, earlier this week, Sony Pictures decided to go ahead and just take a lot of their blockbuster movies and push them forward to much later dates. One of the bigger name films to get postponed was Morbius, starring Jared Leto. That was supposed to come out July 31st, and now it's being pushed back all the way to March 19th, 2021. I gotta admit, I was actually kind of looking forward to Morbius. I thought the trailer looked pretty decent. I can't say it would have been like a huge monumental blockbuster or anything, because, this is also part of that whole Spider-Man universe with Sony or whatever. But I kind of wanted to see what they were going to do with it. The trailer looked fine. It looked like the best Batman trailer I've ever seen. And you know what? It's kind of sad that it got pushed back. Again, I get it. It is, the whole safety precaution thing. But my goodness, all the way to 2021? Ugh, yeah. So Morbius is going to get pushed back all the way until next year. Then next up, we have Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I believe is kind of like a sequel, reboot. Maybe it's a C-boot, whatever it is. But anyway, it takes place way after the events of the original two Ghostbusters. And that unfortunately got postponed. It was supposed to come out this summer, July 10th, 2020. And now that's getting pushed all the way back to March 2021. Then, besides that, you have Tom Holland's Uncharted movie, which is also getting pushed back. That film isn't going to come out until December of 2021. And it's bad enough because this movie has suffered from so many different issues, like getting this or that director or this or that writer leaving and coming on a project and all that. So it's getting pushed back to another year. So fans of the Uncharted video game, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. I believe also Peter Rabbit 2 is getting postponed to January 15th, 2021. And that's not all. We also have some more summer movies that are getting postponed. Jordan Peele's Candyman 2, that was supposed to come out in the summer of 2020. That is now getting pushed back all the way to September 2020. A Quiet Place 2, which was originally announced to be delayed in the first round of movies, that is now getting pushed back to September 4th of 2020. Then the sequel, Top Gun, Maverick, that is getting pushed all the way to December 23rd of 2020. And you know what? That actually might be a pretty cool, Christmas movie, once we all get to go back to being normal and everything and go back outside. But I do have a slight confession to make. I have never seen Top Gun in completion. It was just one of those, classic movies that I just never had a chance to go see. I might have been just too busy being, 5, 6, however old whenever it came out. I just missed the boat with Top Gun, and I just never had an opportunity to go watch it. I never really had a reason to go back and go watch it. I just assumed that's what made Tom Cruise cool. All right, I'll buy it, But I know I can't be the only one out here that has slept on a really classic movie or a cult classic or whatever. So please tell me I am not alone. There have got to be other movies out there that you all have not seen as of yet, and everybody else is like, how dare you not watch that movie? So please let me know what movies are out there that you still have yet to see, just so I don't feel too alone with this. Hey, look, I have all intention of actually watching Top Gun before I go watch Top Gun Maverick. So it is definitely on my list. So I'm not going to be ignorant to the film forever. Moving on, the bigger news about last week, along with all these delays, Marvel finally announced the pushback and delay of their entire MCU slate of films. We now know that Black Widow is going to be moved all the way to November 6th of 2020. Then the Eternals are getting moved all the way to February 12th of 2021. Shang-Chi is going to get the nice summer slot of May 7th, 2021. Doctor Strange 2 is going to be moved to November 5th, 2021. Thor Love and Thunder is going to be moved to February 28th, 2022. Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, is going to be moved to the summer slot of May 8th, 2022. And Captain Marvel 2 is going to be moved to July 8th, 2022. Okay, let's, for a quick second here. I am not excited for Captain Marvel 2. I'm sorry, but the movie was just, it was not that good. The character is lacking in a couple of ways, in my opinion. Maybe I'll do a video or something explaining the biggest problem with Captain Marvel. I hope that Marvel does with Captain Marvel what they did with Captain America, because if you're a comic fan, you know that Captain America has typically, I want to say, like, in a sense, he didn't have the Superman problem in terms of just being overpowered or anything, but he was way too one-dimensional. Like, he was just the, straightforward good guy, and that was it. But what ended up happening with Captain America in the movies, because his character is not that dynamic, they made all the situations around him dynamic. So you had Winter Soldier, and the whole Hydra twist, boom, shook up the entire MCU. Then you had Civil War with the Sokovia War Accords and all that other stuff, boom, shook up the MCU even more. I'm hoping that they do something like that with Captain Marvel's character, because she's not that compelling. She's not that intriguing. And I blame more of the writers on that. But to her credit, it's also because we haven't really seen a lot, because Captain America was not that intriguing in his first movie either. And I would also argue neither was Thor. They had lackluster first movies. So I'm going to give Captain Marvel a little bit of credit for now, and just hope that, if she happens to get 2 or 3 other movies, it'll help develop her character and make her more interesting and compelling later on. Because right now, hey, give me a Secret Invasion. I don't think we need Secret Wars, but if you can give me a Secret Invasion plot with her, maybe, you could draw up a little bit more interest. But for the time being, whatever. Anyway, when it comes to all these movies being shifted, the other question that happens is, what about the Disney Plus shows that were all supposed to tie in to these Marvel movies? I don't really know if the majority of the Disney Plus shows are going to be affected, but I do think that there's an interesting situation going on with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the production on that show actually stopped because of the COVID-19 situation. I think they were shooting in Prague or something, and basically they had to stop like a week of shooting. I don't know how far into shooting they were. I want to say that they were almost done with it. So who knows how long it's going to take for them to finish. But the thing that kind of draws a little complication is, and this is just my assumption based off of a couple things that I've read, Black Widow is supposed to set up Falcon and Winter Soldier in some way, shape, or form. It should drop some hints or some plot points that Falcon and Winter Soldier can kind of pick up and carry right after the movie comes out. So what they're going to do with the show, I'm not really sure. My best guess is that if Eternals is coming out in February of 2021, and if Black Widow is coming out November of 2020, and if Falcon and Winter Soldier is only 6 episodes, and we know they're going to drop every week to kind of stretch it out, my best guess is that if they can get shooting done and wrapped up sooner than later, maybe we can get this released sometime in January or so, because at least that way, whatever happens in Black Widow, we'll have enough time to digest that. Then Falcon and Winter Soldier can pick up the pace a little bit, and we can get that before Eternals comes out. That's kind of the only show that I think will be affected. Wanda and Vision show, they've already wrapped up production, but they weren't supposed to come out until later on in 2021 anyway. So I get the impression that maybe only Falcon and Winter Soldier will be the ones affected with this, and they might slightly shift Wanda and the Vision show just a little bit, because the Wanda and Vision show, they at least have to come out sometime before Doctor Strange 2, and Doctor Strange doesn't come out until November 5th of 2021 anyway. So maybe we'll get the Wanda and Vision show come out maybe in the summer of some sort. I don't know. I do kind of have a theory of what's going to go on with Wanda and Vision, but I'll have to save that for another video and work out some kinks. But, we'll get to that later. So we'll see what happens. Disney has not announced what they're going to do with their Disney Plus shows yet, but I would anticipate those would be the only two shows to be affected, and that's Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Now, I am actually holding out hope for one movie, and that is Christopher Nolan's Tenet. I mean, let me just state the obvious here. Christopher Nolan is a fantastic director. I mean, go watch Memento, go watch Interstellar, go watch Inception. This guy just does these things with these movies that just kind of blow your mind, right? And the reason why I really am excited for Tenet is because, like the other movies, I have no idea what's going on beforehand. I mean, you could watch the trailer all you like, and maybe it has to do with time travel. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I went back and I remember watching the trailer for Inception, and I was like, okay, buildings are crashing and all these things are going, and I didn't know what they were talking about. Who knew it was about dream detectives or investigators or whatever they were? Like that in itself was such an interesting thing to go into because the trailers didn't tell you much. And if you will just indulge me for a second, this is one of the reasons why one of my golden rules has always been to watch only the first trailer. Now, I know I've broken that rule a couple times for Marvel stuff, but that's for different reasons, for theories and stuff like that. Outside of that, watching the first trailer, I think, is the most people should do. Mainly because, I don't like spoilers. And a lot of trailers, especially the second and third trailer, end up giving way too much of the plot away. And let's be honest, if you're already convinced in watching a movie after the first trailer, why do you need to see the rest? Why, it's just not necessary in my opinion, because you're just going to keep seeing things that when you go see them in the movie, they'll just be less of a surprise, or you'll already see it coming and it'll kind of negate some of the impact that the movie is actually trying to get from you through a full sitting. So, what I like about Tenet and just Christopher Nolan movies in general, his trailers don't tell you very much anyway. Like, you'll just be watching it and you think you know what's going on, but you really don't. And that's awesome, because then we get to actually sit down and watch these movies and experience, the suspense and the drama and the thrills and all that stuff as if it was just brand new. And I cannot wait. I am going to call it now. Tenet is going to be dope. It is going to be an awesome movie. I am super excited for that. So, with that said, now let's finally get into some good news instead of all these movie delays and stuff. Recently, Disney has announced that Artemis Fowl is coming straight to Disney+. The release date, however, has not been announced yet. Now, this might actually be good news for the movie because it was already pushed back and delayed back in August 2019, and it was pushed to May 2020. Well, Disney said, okay, let's just drop it on streaming, because apparently there's been controversy with this movie before, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they changed up most of the source material. Now, I haven't read the books or anything like that, but a lot of the fans apparently were upset that they've changed so many elements up. And that's not always a bad thing, but it does sound like a lot of the main core people that were going to go watch this movie anyway probably weren't going to go see this in theaters. So dropping it on Disney Plus straight for streaming might not actually be a bad idea. We are home. People are desperate for things to watch anyway, so hey, if I was Disney, I'd do the same thing. Moving on to even more good news, AMC Networks is giving free access away until May 1st on AMC.com and AMC TVE. So you get a chance to go watch The Birthday Boys and Spoils of Babylon? Yay. I don't know. I've never watched those shows. I have no idea what they're about anyway. The only thing I know that's on AMC that I've watched anyway is The Walking Dead. And even The Walking Dead, look, I've kind of given up on them anyway. I think I've made it to season 7 or so, maybe 8. And I just got so frustrated with how the show kept milking things, milking characters. First sign of it was when they milked the governor. I think that was like in season 4 or something like that. Like they gave him practically a whole season because he was a popular character. I don't want to see that. You know, it's just it feels desperate in a sense when shows stretch characters unnecessarily, you know, and what made this show so interesting and compelling in the beginning, which was great, by the way, the first 2-3 seasons were really good, was just the fact that, you know, you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know, nobody was safe. You know, it kind of took that Game of Thrones approach, which is always interesting, right? And, you know, after they started getting all this pressure, like, you better not kill this character or that character, then all of a sudden it was like, all right, now you lose your edge in a sense. And I don't know, Walking Dead has just kind of lost its appeal for me. I don't know if some of you are still watching. Maybe you guys can let me know if it's worth jumping back into. Maybe I gave up too soon, but I didn't like the feel of how it just kept on wanting to be more ratings based than focused on the actual story itself and the characters. So enjoy that free streaming of AMC. I think is dope. I think a whole lot more platforms and streaming networks should do it. Matter of fact, speaking of which, South by Southwest Film Festival is partnering with Amazon Prime to release many of the films that would have been shown during the festival, and they're going to release that on the streaming platform of Amazon for a 10-day period. Now, a release date has not been set yet, and we don't know which movies are going to be released. For all we know, it could be a number of films, maybe some documentaries or short films that, you know, critics like myself or other press members would have been watching during the festival. And hopefully, you know, hey, they just stream it all for everybody for free. And a lot of times there are some nice hidden nuggets, you know, some hidden gems that are out there. And hey, I think it's awesome that Amazon is dropping that for people. You do not need to be an Amazon Prime member to watch it either. Actually, as long as you just have an Amazon account, according to the reports, this should be free for you to just be able to watch. So that's great. And Amazon and South by Southwest and AMC are not the only ones doing this. HBO is also jumping on that bandwagon. If I'm not mistaken, starting already, HBO Go and HBO Now is free without a paid subscription. So go sign up for HBO and HBO Go. You can catch up on The Wire. You can catch up on True Blood, on Veep, on Sopranos, whatever shows that you have not been watching on HBO. Go catch up on them. HBO really does have some quality programs on there. The documentary series are really nice. I love the original shows. They've got some movies on there as well. So hey, if it's free, by all means, go check it out. Free is never a bad thing. Oh yeah, and by the way, ESPN has finally come to their senses and they've moved up the date for The Last Dance to premiere April 19th, 2020. Now, this is going to be a 10-part series chronicling the last championship year of Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. I am excited for this because we have had no sports, no basketball. It is driving me nuts. And there was no reason for ESPN to hold on to this any longer with all of us still being in quarantine. Supposedly this is going to contain some never before seen footage, and I cannot wait. This will probably be one of the best things ESPN can show. Again, given the fact that we have no sports. So Thank you, ESPN, for giving us this sooner rather than later. Last but not least, and I don't really know if this is good news or not, but oh gosh. From the network documentary series The Tiger King, Jeff Lowe has announced that there was going to be another episode that's going to be releasing either this week or next week. The Tiger King. It's just not going to stop. Netflix is going to keep milking this, you know. I'm not mad at them. Hey, like Tiger King has been trending for like the past week and a half cuz again, we don't have anything else to watch. So might as well just watch some crazy zookeeper who has these weird straight gay husbands and has a weird petty feud going on with another cat lady, and then everyone's like a con person. And you know what? Watch Tiger King at your own peril if you like. You know, I've said it before. Best thing to do is to watch it maybe 3 episodes in. If it's not your cup of tea, feel free to put it down. Otherwise, just keep watching to see how crazy this thing gets. But it is nothing but a rabbit hole of just garbage reality TV. And I'm not saying that it's bad quality. I'm just saying, you know, it's just something to it's just something to fill the time. That's all. You know, if you want to see what the hype is about, you can see what it's about. But it is what it is. Tiger King. There you go. Anyway, before I go, I did want to talk about one other movie that I caught on Netflix, and maybe I'll do a review for it sometime down the road. But now that I have you guys here, might as well just talk about it now, and that is The Platform on Netflix. The Platform is a foreign film. It is English dubbed, so you can still listen to it in English with the subtitles and stuff if you like. But the movie is about, how can I put it? The movie's about this guy that wakes up in a prison, and this prison is pretty unique. It has like this huge hole in the middle of the floor and the ceiling, and there's a platform that just goes up and down with food on it. And the food goes from the top level all the way down. And the premise is that the people at the top, they start eating their food, and the people at the bottom, they get the seconds, then the thirds, then the leftovers, and so on and so forth. So let's just say, for example, you're on level 20. You're going to be eating the food of 19 other, levels. And if you're on level 50, or 40 or whatever, maybe you get to eat. I don't know. It all depends. So the movie is, I should say, it's allegorical, right? So the movie is symbolic of a lot of different concepts and ideas dealing with humanity and society, maybe some politics if you kind of want to throw that in there. Definitely makes for some interesting think pieces. It's not a movie for you to watch and dissect literally. It's not a movie that you need to be like, well, what time period was this and what country? And it's not, it doesn't need all that type of analysis, right? A lot of it really has to do with just more so, what does this prison represent? What do the prisoners represent? What are the concepts that they're talking about in the film represent? So that's one element to it. From a basic, movie perspective, what's interesting about it to me was just the fact that you get to learn little things along the way about the prison. And there's always a twist. There's always another, I don't want to say another level, but there's always another piece of insight that as you learn it as you go, it just makes the movie a little bit more compelling to watch. So should you watch it? Maybe. It does have some graphic stuff in it. It is not for kids. It is not the type of movie you should watch while eating your lunch. I'll leave that. But it is pretty interesting. It does make for something to get you thinking and, something to have a conversation about. So check out The Platform at your own risk. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I'll try and get working on another, Quarantine and Chill Part 2 Top 10 list for you all. I was thinking about doing maybe all anime, or maybe I'll just keep it at a mix depending on who out there actually likes anime. I really love anime. I watch anime all the time. So, maybe I'll do like a all anime list for Netflix, or we'll just keep it at a mix. Whatever you guys want. I'll get to working on it for you because, look, we all need a little help during this time anyway. So that's all I got for today. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join me. I really, really do appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for me to cover, you can always shoot me an email at askeman411@gmail.com. That's askeman411@gmail.com. I've got way more videos and podcasts and reviews to do for you all. And until next time, I'll see you all later.